What up, y'all? Today I'm going to be telling y'all my experience living in Maryland. More specifically, this is living in Maryland, an honest review. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. Let's get right into the video.
Yeah, I pull up to the spot. This shit way too fucking lit. Members only in my gang. Westside Queens is the...
Alright, so for some context, I am active duty in the military and I lived in Maryland for about 6 months. I moved there in November and I just graduated, so I moved out on May 4th. May 4th was my last day in Maryland. And so I got a good experience, getting to travel around a lot. I lived at a place called Fort Meade, Maryland, which was right by Annapolis and Odenton. And also, it's like 20 minutes away from Baltimore. So I went to Baltimore a lot. And it's like 30, 45 minutes away from Washington, D.C. So I was also able to explore a lot of Washington, D.C. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that experience on YouTube for you guys. So go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. Let's get right into it. So first things first, the weather in Maryland is weird. It's the most bipolar weather I've ever been in my entire life. One day it would be like rainy and it would be gloomy and dark outside and just rain. Maryland has a lot of like trees and a lot of, like not forests, but like a lot of greenery, which I wasn't really used to being from Texas. I'm from West Texas, so it's more like the desert out here. So it was nice to kind of see a lot of greenery and rain, but whenever it was rainy for like a week at a time or 2 weeks, it was like, man, this is just, I wish I saw the sun. So I only lived there for the winter, but so sometimes the sun would be out and I'd be working. So take what I say about it not really being sunny with a grain of salt. I'm sure it gets sunnier in the summer. I know they have like Virginia Beach nearby and things like that. But honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the weather just because it was so cold when I was there. And I'm just used to the heat. So if you like colder places, Maryland is definitely a place that is a little bit colder, a little bit more, chilly, wear a jacket, that type of thing. So that was one thing that was an adjustment with Maryland. I wouldn't say it was bad. It was just different than what I was used to. And so like the weather wasn't really my kind of thing. Let's talk about the traffic out there in Maryland. Oh my God, the traffic drove me crazy, bro. So living at Meade, you get off and you're like right on this major highway, and highways are slow, bro. So in Texas, it's like highways mainly are like 75, 80. Slowest they'll go is like 65. Highways in Maryland is like 55, and they always get backed up. Like if you try to go somewhere at like 5 or like early in the morning at like 6, dude, good luck. You're gonna be in traffic for like an hour, and people aren't as nice. Like they won't like let you in, so you kind of gotta force your way in there. I did notice that people are a little bit more careful driving in Maryland than how they would be at Texas, but it was just like, man, the traffic drove me crazy. But it was really a different experience. Also, Maryland, you guys have those like turnabouts because I guess you guys don't like traffic lights, so they try to keep the cars moving. So they'll have like, you'll turn off on an exit and then you'll go in like a circle to go to where you need to go, which I did honestly like that part about the traffic, because I didn't have to stop at a light and wait there for like 30 minutes. It was like, nah, like let's go around the circle, get to where we're going, boom, turn off the highway, good to go. Texas, you have to wait at stoplights. So that was a cool thing about, traffic in Maryland. I just wish it wasn't as congested. Y'all should get some like 6-lane highways, you know what I mean? But beggars can't be choosers. Living at Fort Meade, it was cool because Baltimore was right there and DC was right there. So first I'm going to talk about Baltimore. Baltimore has a little culture to it that I really kind of fell in love with. I really liked Baltimore's got like this fighting spirit to it. A lot of the people, it's a lot rougher of a city. So, you go there, and in some places, Baltimore, I hope this doesn't offend you if you're from Baltimore, because it's not me trying to be like disrespectful, but there is a lot of poverty in certain areas of Baltimore. Parts of it look kind of like a third world country where, you know, there just be a lot of homeless people just out and about. And that was upsetting to me, especially going to places where it was nicer in Baltimore and then going to another place and it was like, man, there's all these poor people. And it's just like, I wish there was a way that like people didn't have to deal with all that. There was parts of Baltimore where I just was like, man, I don't really want to like be here. Like, I don't even like to be like, I felt unsafe, but like there's parts of it where it's just like, yeah, bro, like don't go there. Like you get worried that you're gonna get like robbed and shit, so you have to wear like a hood. I just wore a hoodie and then I just wore a hat and I got my little one-piece chain on and I just wouldn't talk to nobody, wouldn't look at nobody, and that was it. But Baltimore has some awesome like street art. Like you see like a lot of graffiti, and like some of the graffiti is like absolutely beautiful, you know. I also got a chance to meet some young rappers. I didn't actually link with them in person, but I know them. They're in my group. There's this guy named Vice Trini and his buddy. Great people. A lot of the music in Baltimore is just like fantastic. I went to a club in Baltimore and like, man, just the music that they were playing, you know what I mean, everybody come out, just start dancing. It's got a good little swag, and plus y'all got that like Baltimore like accent that I really like, you know, because it's got character. Baltimore has got a lot of character. And you go down there to the harbor and it's like there's all these shops and you get to meet I got to meet some really cool people, especially with doing my job. Like I got to go into a couple businesses and film like videos about that business. And so I got to do this one business called EC Pops, which is like popcorn, but it's like a tourist store, and you got to see like a lot of the Maryland flags. That is a big thing out there in Maryland, man. Like I never been in another place besides Texas where people just flying the state flag all around. I saw like Maryland hats, Maryland pants, Maryland gear. I liked it. You know, honestly, the Maryland flag is a pretty cool flag, so I thought it was chill. But, you know, just going out there and seeing the harbor, the water, I wasn't going to swim in that water, boy. That got a lot of trash in it, but, you know, it's got charm. Like, and I got to go to the aquarium. The aquarium was awesome, man. If you were ever in Baltimore, go check out the aquarium in the National Harbor. It's like it's a very lovely place, you know. So I really appreciated that. Also, Maryland, you got pretty good food. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all's crab, y'all seafood, even like chicken and ribs were out there just like pretty good. Like, oh, and y'all had like, surprisingly, y'all had like ramen shops, which I didn't really expect whenever I went to Baltimore, because this was mainly the ramen shops I went to were in Baltimore. But like, man, it was good. I tried miso for the first time. It was fire. And going out and oh my God, pizza in Baltimore, ridiculously fire. You know what I mean? So, I mean, say what you will about Baltimore. Baltimore's got its charm, and there's a lot of places in Baltimore where it's like, dude, I really love it. There's parts of it where it's like, man, I ain't trying to be here. There's parts of Baltimore where it just smells like weed, and I'm just like, I didn't mind it, you know what I mean? I was with a couple friends, and they were like, man, I hate that smell, but I was like, yo, bro, like, it's chill, like, you know what I mean? But if you're going there, you kind of got to keep your guard up a little bit, but you can meet some cool people. You just got to stay safe whenever you're out there in Baltimore. But ultimately, like, that part of Maryland is like, it was all right. Like, also where I was living in Maryland, Washington, D.C. was like mad close. So I'm going to talk about D.C. a little bit. I know it's not technically in Maryland, but it's in that, you know, D.C., Maryland, Virginia type of area. So, you know, if you're by Baltimore, which is where I was by, like, you're probably going to end up going to D.C. a couple of times. And D.C. is, you know, something else. It's parts of it are a lot like Baltimore, where it could just get mad dangerous, but then it's got all this history. And I got to see all these monuments, and I was like, I fell in love with DC. I went to DC so many times. I saw the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, saw the Capitol, which I have beef a little bit with the Capitol because it's got that fence around it and I couldn't go inside of it. And I was a little bit upset because it was like, man, like, I've always wanted to go inside the Capitol, but whatever. And then they had like the National Art Museum, all these different museums, all this history, you know, that you can go and see in DC. DC is very walkable, so they have like these scooters where I would just take them around. It'd be like $20 to have it for like the day. Don't quote me on that. For real, don't quote me on that. But I mean, I paid like a little bit of money and I was able to just drive around on a scooter and it was cool. And DC also had like a lot of good pizza, like the pizza out there, man, chef's kiss, you know what I mean? But yeah, the only thing I really had beef with about DC was like the parking. It's just so hard to find any type of good parking, and then you gotta park in the damn parking garage and pay like $20 to put your car somewhere for like an hour. That part of it kind of bugged me. And also they sent me a traffic ticket like all the way to Texas. They mailed me one because I was going like 10 miles over. It was supposed to be like a 25 and I was going like 35 and a 25, and it's like, man, what the hell? Like it was weird because that was just a thing that would just never happen where I'm from. So that was a little bit different. And driving in DC is a little bit frustrating because it's like in the capital, you know, but DC was a lot, you know, safer than Baltimore, at least from my perspective, going to both cities and walking around. I was kind of a tourist in both cities, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but this is kind of like the perspective of somebody who is not from like Maryland, you know, just telling you how it is. DC was very walkable. I was able to just go around and see a lot of cool stuff. One thing that DC did have in common with Baltimore is there was a lot of, you know, poverty. I saw like homeless camps around, and, you know, I didn't feel any type of way about that other than, you know, I just wish, you know, people could have like homes and shit. I try to be like empathetic, you know. I feel like it's wrong to just, you know, judge somebody else, especially if you don't know their situation or like how they ended up there. But, you know, all in all, like I would give living in Maryland like a 7 out of 10, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't like my favorite place in the world, like the weather, you know, but I mean, it's got a little spirit to it, you know, and I like that about it. So yeah, 7 out of 10. I had a pretty good time out there. I saw a lot of cool things. So if you are moving to Maryland or you're going to visit there for a while and you're just trying to see what it's like, hopefully my perspective, you know, helped you. But go ahead and leave a like and subscribe for me. I put videos out every Friday. Sometimes I talk about like the military. Sometimes I talk about self-improvement. Sometimes I just want to talk about travel and just like my life experiences. This channel is mainly just for me to, you know, document the things that I go through so I could look back on it and be like, yo, like that's what I was like whenever I was 19, almost 20, or when I was 18. I have videos of me before I joined the military, where I was in high school, you know, and so I like putting these out. Usually these videos are recorded like a month or two before they come out, just because I record like 2 or 3 at the same time, or 2 or 3 in the same day, and then I'll upload them, and that's like 3 weeks of content. But I love hearing from you guys. So if you guys have any type of cool travel stories, places that you've seen, if you're from Maryland or moving there, put it in the comments, you know. Try to use this comment section as a way to like get advice about, you know, the area. Maybe somebody from Baltimore. Hopefully I did the people from Maryland, you know, right, because honestly, like, I loved it. So I don't even want them to feel like, you know, I was trying to like diss it or nothing. I'm just trying to give my perspective. But yeah, being out there just kind of opened up my mind, especially being on the East Coast, because, you know, coming from Texas, about to move to the West Coast. But, you know, I mean, it was just cool, man. So y'all go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram at DEEPSIDE999. If you ever want to reach out to me, I always hit you guys back. So yeah, man. Peace.